Welcome to my virtual space. In this video, I will talk about my experience with suppressing anger. Suppressing my anger, it doesn't mean I don't react. Suppressing in itself, it's an action. As a response to an external factor, it's a reaction. A non-reaction implies receiving everything with peace, unmoved. If I do suppress, then I do react. It was a time in my life when I wasn't even aware that I was experiencing anger. I was so used to some situations that I couldn't see how unhealthy they were. I was just clenching my teeth and my fists, and I was just sucking it up. Back then, I was suppressing my anger unconsciously. And the more I have suppressed my nervous system throughout my life, even more reactions followed, until they become so obvious and they disturbed my life in such a manner that I couldn't ignore them anymore. The blood rushing to the head pulsating and hurting, the nausea, the stomach pain, the fuzziness of the mind, the repetitive unpleasant thoughts about an event that keep coming back for a long time, the insomnia, the emotional eating, the chronic fatigue. Aren't all these reactions? But how did I guess? But how did I get in this mess? I was educated to be good, which meant I was not allowed to express my emotions because my emotions were uncomfortable for the adults. But instead, I had to endure all their bursts of anger and all the tension that they unconsciously created. And for a long time, I was not able to see the paradox of this situation. I believe that the more we are used to be the good ones, because we block our anger and pretend we are fine, the more difficult it is to see and accept that, guess what, we too get angry. When we accept this, we are not the good ones anymore. And this is a big blow to our ego. And we get into an identity crisis. If I'm not the good one, then who am I? But seeing and accepting our emotions is necessary in order to heal. Think of this. If you have a bag with apples, and at the bottom of the bag there is a rotten apple, the rotten apple will damage the good apples in the bag in spite of us not being aware about the presence of the rotten apple inside the bag. In the same way, the sadness, the anger, and all the emotions that we block and choose to ignore because we don't know how to deal with them are rotting us from the inside. Instead of accepting, expressing, and then let go of my anger, I piled it up inside me for years. This leads to frustration, to dysregulation of our nervous system, and even sickness in the body. Or at least this is what happened to me. However, expressing the anger after years of suppressing it, it doesn't come very easy. For me, it didn't at least. And because it is hard to express, it's even harder to let it go. The story goes like this. Something is triggering me and I feel a storm raising inside. I try to explain to the person triggering it what is happening. But I noticed that they don't understand. Some people don't understand at all. Others take it very personally when I tell them that something they do or they say makes me feel not good. Their own feeling of unworthiness awakens, and because they don't really understand what is happening to them, they say more hurtful things to me, and they try to force me bring them the worthiness feeling that they can't achieve by themselves. Observing this, I realized that I cannot expect people who don't even understand themselves to understand me. So, I gave up on trying to make myself understood. But the storm inside me did not slow down. It grew bigger and bigger because it seems very unfair to keep suppressing my feelings in order to not hurt other people's feelings. Yelling is not something that I feel comfortable doing. Communicating is not possible when the message I try to send is not received or it is received in a corrupted way. The solution that I adopted for now is to avoid being directly involved as much as I can with the people and in the situations that are extremely triggering to me. I choose to work directly with the ones that are easier to tolerate by my nervous system. I do not expect understanding from others anymore, but I do work on getting at peace with them in their absence. How do I do that? I try to consciously revisit as often as I can the childhood memories that are the root of the trouble. Many times I get too overwhelmed and I distract myself. Some other times I get to some type of understanding that helps me get rid of some of the burdens that I carry. One very important thing that I understood, for example, is that making mistakes is natural. Mistakes are just learning experiences, and it's normal to make them in order to learn. Think about the little children. You tell to a little child to not touch the stove because it is hot and he'll get burned. But when you don't pay attention, he'll touch the stove, and then you'll punish him for being naughty. What you don't understand, however, is that if the little child has never experienced hot and burn, he has no idea what you are talking about. Now, getting back to the healing work that I do. When I see there is a storm brewing inside me, I talk to myself with kindness. I do conscious breathing exercises, and I keep reminding myself that my torment won't change the situation for the better. However, sometimes I forget to do all this. When this is happening and I realize it, I continue to treat myself with kindness and I don't judge myself because I forgot. Instead, I set the intention to remember the next time when the storm comes. After doing this many times, I can see some progress with the situations less triggering. For example, I was at the market and there were long waiting lines even at the self-checkout points. When a woman cut the line and ignored the people telling her that she should wait in the line, a lot of people got angry and started shouting at her. I was the only one smiling. And I wasn't smiling because people were angry or because the woman cut the line. But I was smiling because I was not feeling any anger inside me in a situation that in the past used to get me angry too. There are still situations and people to which my nervous system reacts very violently. It gets into the danger alert mode. But I do have the faith that a day will come when I will be able to keep the peace inside me in any situation and around anyone. I wish my story makes sense and can bring some understanding and ease to other people facing similar struggles as myself. May we all find peace. And meanwhile, treat yourself with kindness.